Track and field fans, were you not entertained? My God. Men's 3000 lived up to the hype. Day one USA's recap. This is a special, this is Let'sRun.com co-founder Robert Johnson bringing you the special live edition of our Friday 15. Normally the Friday 15 is the second bonus podcast only for our supporters called members. Sometimes we go live for the masses. We're doing that right now. I wish Weldon was now busy with family stuff so we can have a pop-up. We need millions to watch this. What a race. What a race. Day one of the USA's is in the book. The men's 3000 has literally just ended. Coming into it, we thought there was at least a big three, maybe a big four. Cole Hocker, the Olympic champion, Yared Nuguse, Olympic medalist, Nico Young, Diamond League winner, and Ethan Strand, the young buck. In the end, it ended up being only a three-person race. Hocker, Young, and Nuguse. In the final 600, they all had the lead. Nuguse was trying to control it from the front. Nico said, no, I'm pushing this from the front. And then Nuguse was in second. Hocker was in third. You're thinking the whole time, well, Hocker's the Olympic champion. He's a world champion. He's going to blow these guys away. And then he tries to go on the final turn, and he's got work to do. It's very tight. Young's fighting him off on the outside. And I was thinking to myself, Nico, do not go wide. Do not leave the rail open. And that's what he did. Trying to hold off Cole Hocker. He moves out into lane two. Yared Nuguse comes up on the inside. Hocker does win with a lean at the line, but it's Nuguse that gets the second spots to world. Nico Young goes home devastated, will not be going to the world championships. What a race, John. Does it get any better than that?
Not really. It was awesome. I mean, like you said, three guys had the lead in the last 500. We had big moves. We had an awesome finish. And this is what we as track fans live for, is some of America's best stars showing up, going in a race that matters, and there's only two spots on the line for the World Championships. Someone had to go home devastated, and it's Nico Young in this case. But we got strategy, we've got fast finishes. There's a lot to break it down in this race, and the women's 3K was also awesome. Emily Mackay taking down Ellie St. Pierre. That was an upset. Great run by Mackay. Probably her best run, honestly, since her 2024 season when she made the Olympic team, running 8:30 and closing that in 2:40 for the last K. Really impressive victory for her. Cooper Lutkenhaus cruised the 800 prelims. Hurta-Klecker, who was fifth at Worlds last year in the 800, is out. She doesn't even make the final in the women's 800. So plenty to discuss after day one of the U.S. Indoor Championships.
Yes, and before the show's done, I'm planning to go only about 30 minutes today. We will try to talk about the first World Marathon Major of the night of the 2026 season. That's tonight, 7 p.m., Tokyo. Should be a fun one. But look, the reason why we had this scheduled to go off at 3:40, actually went live at 3:30 when the race was going off, was we want to break down this 3,000 as quickly as possible. Just phenomenal. I'm actually trying to pull up the splits because I was getting the live stream going. Crazy race.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to replay it just to look, what exactly happened that last 200. It really looks like Nuguse leaned at the line and Nico Young did not. And the margin between them was 1/100th of a second. And I really think that's what it came down to. Nuguse is going to Poland because Nico Young left the rail, just as he left the rail in the US 5,000 meter final last year to allow Cole Hocker to stream to the victory. And in this case, he probably wasn't aware Nuguse was there because he sort of leaned back a little bit. Like, he was obviously exhausted at the end. Nuguse kept digging for every inch and made that lean, and he got the spot. So something Nico Young, I mean, you would think he'd have a serious chance to medal had he made the team, and now he won't even be at the World Championships.
Well, but the reality of this all is anyone who made this team for the U.S. has a serious chance of medaling. So, I mean, that's just the way.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
I'm trying to. I'm just wonder if I can get some screenshots up for our live YouTube visitors here. The one positive about this meet not being on NBC is you can take screenshots off of your phone. Wow. Yeah, I mean, off the turn, Nico's clearly got the lead. Hocker's, I mean, if Nico doesn't leave the rail, there's no way that Nuguse gets there. I don't really, not sure I agree with your idea that, I mean, Nico didn't, it's true he didn't lean, but he didn't let up, John.
Right, but he lost by 100th of a second.
No,
I think a lean could help him in that
up.
situation.
He's just tying up, and Nuguse is just driving forward. What a finish. What a finish. Got to somehow email that to myself so I can get this on the goddamn live screen. Wow. Just but this is the beauty of sports. You know, and I sometimes, you know, tell my son that it's a little bit sad, but you know, there can only be one winner. There can only be one second placer. Like in the real world, everybody can do well theoretically, and you make a good product, somebody else who makes a good product, you trade for each other, and you both go home happy. In sports, the devastation is part of what makes this, you know, so amazing. So I haven't had time to stream down through the, let's try to get the results up on the screen here, but through the rest of the results, because, you know, and when I was scrolling down through the women's results, there were some interesting names farther down, but okay. Hocker, Nuguse, Young, no problem. Mortal Beatles come 740.8, so he's 1.5 seconds behind the big guys. Sam Prakel, Matthew Wilkinson, Cooper Tier 7th, Ryan Scope. The surprise to me is we're now down to number 8. We're going to 9, 10, 11, 12th place, Ethan Strand, 747. Like what happened to him, John? We had such high hopes for him heading into the 2026 indoor season, and it just never materialized.
Yeah, he has had 2 rough races out of 3. He ran pretty well at the sound invite, 7:35 for 3rd there, but he still wasn't with Nuguse and Young on that last lap. And yeah, he ran really badly at Millrose. So, you know, he also ran well cross, remember? So maybe he was gearing up a little, but I don't think they changed the training that much for it. But the guy's 22 years old. It's his first time training full-time at altitude. He moved to Flagstaff in the fall. Like, sometimes it just takes a little while to adjust. I'm still a firm believer in his talent, but the reality is the U.S. is so competitive in the 1,500, 3K, 5K right now that, you know, if you're not really at the top of your game, you're going to struggle. And he's been a little while off his game this season. So I don't think it's any reason to panic long-term, but to beat out the likes of Young and Hocker and Nuguse, you got to be on it, and Ethan Strand hasn't been this season.
But what's surprising to me is how good he was, you know, sort of indoor. I mean, he won the U.S. cross trials, so you think his base is great. He's ready to go.
Yeah, but who did he beat in that race, Robert?
Well, fair enough, but I don't think it was 7:45. It just, to me, so you think someone this talented who's able to win a U.S. title at anything would be able to sort of have a good indoor season. So it is surprising to me. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. You're not surprised?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was running faster times last year indoors at North Carolina. So in that was like, I think he was a better runner a year ago at this time, but and that is a bit surprising to me. But I'm also not panicking about his long-term future because I believe in the talent.
But look, I keep saying it, John. You needed to call me up. I have too many ideas and no execution. I could easily, as a former coach here, get on the telestrator, make a couple of videos about tactics. Tactics in running, there should only be about like 2 or 3 rules, and it's not hard, and you should never have bad tactics, and it should never change. And Nico Young has repeatedly failed at these tactics, and Colin Solomon has failed at these tactics. And what do they all have in common? They're coached by Mike Smith. So Mike Smith is definitely one of the best coaches in the country, but is he? I mean, I'll admit I never had long tactical decisions with my guys at Cornell, but at this elite level, you need to have the tactics. And it's pretty simple. If you're in the lead coming off the rail, do not ever leave lane 1. Do not ever do it. Period. Don't do it. And Nico, you said he did it last year at USA Outdoors. And what does he do? His next indoor championships, next World USA Championships, he does the exact same thing. So that's got to really sting. That's really got to hurt. you know.
Okay,
So
he did do that, and that was a mistake. But I'm
here's the
curious.
finish. Look how tight that is, folks. If you're looking live, if you're a Supporters Club member and you didn't get to see this race, by the way, a lot of you, I mean, you had to pay $13 for USATF.tv. Nowhere else could you watch it. So Supporters Club members, link in the, you're getting this as a podcast. I'll put a photo of the finish, how tight it was.
400ths of a second there between the three of them. But I want to break down a couple of the other moves, Robert. So first of all, Nico Young goes to the lead with 300 to go. Nuguse is the first one to really make a move. He pushes with about 500 to go. Nico,
first of all, let's go to that. I was surprised by that. And with my predictions, I mean, we had the race at Sound Running a few weeks ago, and I thought to myself, I really think that Yared Nuguse should beat Nico Young in the 3000. Like, I know it's rabbited at Sound Running, but it ends up being somewhat tactical. I would think the edge would go to the miler. I know that Nico's run 348. So in this one, I was debating back and forth. Again, this is going to be more tactical. This is more championship. Even though Nico beat him at Sound Running, what's going to happen here? And in the end, I changed my pick. I went Cole Hocker, Nico Young, Yared Nuguse, because I thought Nico's better than Yared now. Yared has not been having a great indoor season. I do think that a pure championship benefits him a little bit more, but I just think Nico is next level. I think that he is a guy that can win a global gold medal. So I was extremely surprised when I saw Yared go to the lead. I'm like, you're the miler here. Why don't you try to sit on Nico? Were you surprised that he tried to control it from the front from 500 out?
Not totally, because he's not a guy who has been afraid to be at the front. I just think he saw an opportunity, he took the lead. But yeah, you would think, I just think Nico was closing so well, and he did close so well at the Sound Invite, 26:06, in a faster race than this, that he's got a great kick too. I don't think he's at this massive disadvantage, though obviously his mile speed and 1500 accomplishments aren't the same as Nuguse's. But then at that point, he holds the lead until 300 to go. Seems reluctant to give it up. Nico gets it, 300 meters to go. And looking back, I'm wondering, okay, did he go too early? Did he try to kick too early? Because he's probably thinking, well, look, Hocker's behind me, and Hocker's going to be coming for me. I need to get in front of Nuguse at some point, and he decides that's the time to do it. I'm going to make this move. But at the same time, if you hang back, and then I guess if you hang back, you don't want to be moving at the same time Hocker's moving, and you're a little worried, if Hocker leaves it to the very home straight, am I going to have enough time to get Nuguse? So what did you think about Young's move? Do you think 300 was the right time to go?
Again, when I'm watching it live, both moves shocked me. I was most shocked that Nuguse was in the front. And then I'm like, okay, then you sit on him, but you're the 5K guy trying to outkick the miler. But I'm like, what you're going to know what you need, I guess, right? But then I guess you're thinking you're having to run extra ground. So I guess he just figured that's not all out. I've got more in the tank. I'm going to unwind it here. So I don't know. It would have worked. I mean, he pulled away a little bit, and I'm like, he's got this. I guess he thought, I've got more in the tank. I'm still going to end up second. I don't want to get nipped at the line by Hocker or something. So I kind of thought well, yeah, he pushed it, and coming off that final turn, I'm like, it worked out for Nico. I probably wouldn't have gone to the lead. I'd rather be sitting behind someone and knowing exactly what I need to do to make the team. But since there's the best guy of all is behind all of us, it makes you nervous. I could kind of see it, but then it didn't work out because he left the lane.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine margins, and it looked, in retrospect, you say, oh, he mistimed it slightly because he lost by 0.01 and got run down in the home straight. But if the race is 1.5 meters shorter, Nico beats Yared and was saying it was bold of him to go, and it made sense. So looking back, I'm not sure how much of a mistake it was. And it's just, he's up against two really good guys, and he just didn't have quite enough to beat them. And then, we have to give credit here, of course, to Cole Hocker. This guy is just so confident in his kick. He's third at the bell. Which it's not like he's in horrible position, but he's not right on their shoulders either. And these guys, I'm like, these guys are both going to close in 26. So Hawker's going to have to close in like 25 high or 26 low and get around them at some point. And that's not going to be easy, but he just trusts, I'm Cole MF Hawker. I'll do it. So yeah, he gets around, gets into second on the back straight, right around Nuguse. And then with the 50 to go, entering the home straight, he goes wide and gets around Nico, and he closes in 26.36, even though he ran the whole last turn in lane 2. So he's just that good and that confident that even against two of the best guys in the world right now, he's like, yeah, my kick's still better than yours.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch it live, 26.36 for Hocker, 26.64 for Nuguse, 26.86 for Young. Someone in the chat said it was a 152 final 800. That's obviously a 54.2, 2.9 final 400 for Hocker. And I just, wow, a couple things here. I guess I do think in a tactical three. I mean, the big picture wise, I don't think this changes anything for Nico. Maybe it's good actually. He can now train for 10K, or if he wants to run the 10 or something like that. But I think that he's really, to me, exciting guy for the future. Like the fact that Gracier's won the 10,000, I'm thinking Nico Young definitely gold medal 10,000 possibility. That is real for me, and I'm not as excited about Yared Nuguse. Like I don't see how he wins a global gold. But I guess, would I be more excited if Nico was on the team? Hey, we don't know what the full year it is. He isn't having the best indoor season, but he lost to Cam Myers, and then he was sick at sound running. So maybe Yared is actually sort of going to be in amazing shape at World Indoors. I mean, it was pretty damn close. He's right there with Cole Hocker today.
Right. And one other thing we should point out, I can't believe it's taking us this long to note it. Both Hocker and Nuguse are double entered in the 1500. Now, Hocker, we know, plans on doubling both events at Worlds if he makes them. We don't know that for Nuguse. When I was talking to him earlier this season, he suggested that the focus will be the 1500. So it's possible he makes the team in the 1500 tomorrow and says, all right, I'm just going to focus on that. I won't run the 3K. And that opens up the spot for Nico Young, and he does actually end up making it on the team. So it's possible all three of these guys will be at World Indoors. But that's TBD.
And for the record, Cole Hocker does not have the 3,000 standard, but he's ranked in the top 15. They take 15. Plus, there's three guys ahead of him who aren't going, so he's almost certain to be going.
Right, Robert. One thing I wanted to add about this race as well. Going in, Will Lear on the commentary is like, "How do you beat Cole Hocker? It seems impossible." And that's what I was thinking in my mind as well. But we saw it today. It's that, let's say he's at World Indoors and it's not just those two guys. You've also got, there's only going to be one of those two in the 3K, but you've got Josh Kerr in there as well, or in the 1500, Nate is going to be around. You've just got a few people, and he just leaves himself a little bit too much work to do. And he trusts his kick, and we saw it in the World Championship final last year. He goes from 12th to 1st on the last lap in the 5K. But if this is a 1500 and it's sort of like his semi in Tokyo last year, where he's just a little bit farther back, he's got to pass people down, sometimes you can't get around all of them, right? So I think that's really the scenario where he loses, is if he's like in 4th at the bell or something and he trusts his kick just a little bit too much and he just runs out of room. I could see someone like Nader, holding him off or something like that in Poland at World Indoors. I think that's probably how he loses, is if he just trusts his kick too much.
Well, Jordy Beamish has a better kick than him in this tactical race. So Jordy Beamish kick's probably not better in a 7:39 race, but if it's a 7:45 race, it could be. Now, I don't know if Beamish is going to be there, but yeah, like it was interesting to me. I mean, we didn't talk about this, but Hocker led the first mile in this. He runs a 4:14. He makes this an honest race. I mean, you think with his kick, he might just want to roll the dice. I've heard some people say, like, he's got the double tomorrow. It's easier to actually run an honest race than it is to just throw it down at the end.
No, I think the main thing we've seen with Hocker, he's done it in several finals now, is he's very happy to go to the front and run a pace that feels comfortable to him. And for that today, 414 and 1600, that's going to feel very comfortable for him.
But,
and it just
by the
allows
way-
him to stay out of trouble and be in good position.
I guess we've got a remote producer. Someone's put up an ad on the screen. USA's coverage brought to you by Alethea Run. Alethea.run. Free trial and 10% off for Let's Run visitors with the code Let's Run 10. Let's Run 10. Check your show notes if you're a Supporters Club member. And I entered the prediction contest this morning after the 800 started, John. But I wanted to be on record of what do I really think is going to be in this 3,000. And that's when I changed it up and put Nico ahead of Nuguse. Even though 2 weeks ago, I was like, no, Nuguse should beat him in a 3,000. But despite the disappointment today, I think it's been an amazing indoor season for Nico. And I'm extremely bullish on him. I love watching Hocker. You can't beat him. It's close. And I did think today, I was like, oh my God, he's going to get third. Like there was a brief moment there because we've seen it. Like it's the same part on the track, even though you're only 150 meters down. But normally outdoors, it's 300 meters down. Sometimes you're like, wow, he's got a lot of work to go. You know, in that one spot, right when they're coming off the penultimate turn, whether it's outdoors or indoors, you're like, okay, his kick's good, but
yeah, his race judgment is usually very good, but sometimes it's so close that you do worry. Hey, if he mistimes it a little, maybe he leaves himself vulnerable. But usually he does come through, and his instincts are very good as a racer.
Yeah, and then women's 3,000 to me, this was a big shock. I mean, we had Ellie St. Pierre, the reigning. Or not reigning, but I guess 2 years ago, she won the World Indoor Gold. And she's the American record holder. She's the world leader. Wait, right, John? World leader, correct?
I want to say Ferwani Hailu took that from her.
Okay. But anyways, they kind of start off slow for a few laps, and then Ellie St. Pierre just goes to the lead. And it just instantly, like, she and Emily Mackay are way ahead, or not instantly, but pretty soon. It's like a 2-person race. And I was just watching this and I was like, this is masterclass. Like what an amazing runner. She just had her second kid less than a year ago. She's just dominating this field. She's just crushing this woman. I go, she's like an Olympian in the 1500. I'm like, I'm surprised she just wouldn't wait for the kick and just blow by people, but she's just tightening the screws. This is masterclass. And Mackay with like 600 to go or so was kind of falling off a little bit. And then she caught back up with like 400 to go. I'm like, nah, there's no way Emily does this. And then I was wrong. Emily went 29.93 in the last lap and pulls off the upset. And, you know, it's 8:30.01 to 8:31.07. 29.94 final lap, 31.15 from St. Pierre. Ended up not being close. I mean, once St. Pierre got sort of passed with like on the final turn, she kind of, I think, packed it in a little bit. I mean, second place was Margaret Appleton, 8:41. 41. She's actually a part of New Balance Boston as well with St. Pierre. So Mackay and St. Pierre used to be teammates. They are no longer teammates. And Mackay was trying to find a new coach. I was like, John, who's coaching her these days? And the answer is
Pete Julian. Yeah.
He lives, folks. Pete Julian, former Nike coach, sort of lost all of his guys, but hey, this is a big win for him and a big, huge win for family Mackay. I mean,
yeah.
What was interesting to me, John, they raced 2 weeks ago or about a month ago at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Ellie won 8:26. Mackay was fourth, 8:38. I mean, it wasn't even in the same ballpark.
Yeah. I want to know what was going on with Mackay a month ago. Like, was she sick or was something off, or they just would, you know, her timeline, she wasn't like quite ready to go fast? Because if you look at her races, fourth in 8:38, which for Mackay, like her PB for this race was 8:35. So that's not like an awful result, but you know, her best event's the 1500. So she gets destroyed by Ellie in that race, 12 seconds. And then they race, you know, Ellie misses the one to make a mile. But Emily Mackay runs that. She only finishes 7th. Now she runs 4:22, which isn't slow, but you know, 7th place. It's not like she was having a great season. And then she runs 4:22 again at Sound Invite 2 weeks ago, which is, you know, she gets the win in that race, but competition isn't, you know, crazy good or anything like that. And now in this one, suddenly 8:30, a 5-second PB. She's still got a kick at the end. And she takes down Ellie St. Pierre, who is one of the best in the world in this event, who won World Indoors 2 years ago. So, yeah, I think this was her best race since the 2024 Olympic trials. to see her running well after leaving Mark Coogan. That's encouraging for her. And yeah, really impressive run. And it's certainly a surprise given what she'd been doing to this point in the season. Her first U.S. title as well. Got to give her a shout out for that.
We need to reevaluate her now, to be honest. Like, I think of Ellie St. Pierre as so much better. But if you look at the head-to-head, I'm going to put this up on the screen right now. You know, this is Telestopsia. It says 5-2, but one of those was the Olympics where they didn't actually race in the same heat. So coming in, I'm not sure if that's showing. Yeah, which one do you see? Do you see 5-2 on the screen, John?
Yeah, it's too small for me. It's 1-3 to. I don't know. It's too small for me to read it, Robert.
So I'm trying to get the 5-2. There you go. There we go. So all time coming in against each other head to head, it was 4-3 St. Pierre against Mackay, and Mackay actually beat Ellie St. Pierre at the Olympic trials in 2024. She wins this. Now it's 4-3. It's still very surprising to me because, you know, it's like huge PB for Emily Mackay. 3,000, I think, would be more in Ellie's, you know, wheelhouse. But it just reminds me, Ellie is not very confident in her kick. I mean, the Olympic trials, she tries to slam it from the front. 2024, she's always setting the pace, and I guess she's vulnerable, right? If it's close,
she can be. I mean, we must remember that in 2024, when she won World Indoors, she did it by kicking down Sagai at the end. But yeah, in general, she's a strength-based 1500 runner. That's why she's also good at the 5K, and she won her NCAA title in a kick. It's not like she has a terrible kick, but I think she likes a good, honest race. And if she can break people from the front, she'll try to do it. Based on everything we've seen this season, suggested that closing the way she did for the last 2K, she'd be able to break Emily Mackay and the rest of this field. Because, I mean, Emily Mackay, here are her 1K splits for this race: 3:01, 2:48, 2:40. So the last 2K of the race, she was running 8:12 pace. I mean, that usually will break a lot of these women in this race. And it's just Mackay's in really good shape, and I think so is Ellie right now.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I mean, you know who has the better 1,500 meter PB?
Yeah, Mackay.
355.90 versus 355.99. I mean, Tim Celia on YouTube is saying this is not surprising. She's a 355 under 1,500. It is surprising, Tim. I'm sorry. Like, the reality is they raced about a month ago. It was a 12-second destruction. Ellie is much better. She's the world champion at 3,000, and Ellie is also a 355 runner. So you'd think if it's an honest pace, you can do it. But it does show you what we always talk about tactical races. You have to be so much better to beat somebody from the front. And if you give that person behind you, they latch on and they have hope, then it's just a very primal thing, like outkick them. I kind of thought, like, when Ellie realized she was being caught, I'm like, okay, Ellie realizes she's there. She's holding on. She's saving something. She's going to blast it from the front. And then when she lost, it started me reevaluate all the kicks and her lack of a kick, you know, et cetera. Now, I know when Mackay left, there were some rumblings about team discord and who liked who and who was selfish and all this stuff. I would love to know this. Like, the announcer on USATF.TV was like, you know, they must be good friends. I'm like, I'm not sure of that. I don't know who the bad blood was for between John's smiling. John lives in Boston. Do you know? Like, there was some drama, John, right? I heard there's some drama on that team.
I've heard some stuff. I'm not sure I can really share it publicly, but just it was interesting. Will Lear he was calling the race. He was the color commentator at the start of the race. He said, "Oh, there might be a rivalry after Mackay left the group last year." He kind of suggested that there was something going on, and then he's sort of walked that back, and he's like, "Oh, well, we're not really sure," and said, "Oh, they must be on good terms." But look, there was some drama in the training group last year. Let's not beat around the bush, and we don't need to go into all the details, but I'm sure they wanted to beat each other, and I'm sure it felt very sweet for Mackay to get the victory.
By the way, who is the new commentator for USATF.TV? The color play-by-play guy. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched just the distance races, but he's pretty good. Like, I enjoyed having him on. He's better than I'm not. Bill Spalding's my favorite announcer, but this guy's not bad. I never heard him.
I think it was he? Did he say William Falk or something like that? I mean, he definitely has got the passion. You know, he's excited about the races, which is that's a good start.
So let's talk about these 800. Some surprises. Women's 800 is up front. We have Sage Hurta-Klecker, podcast guest, woman who'd run fast before but never made a world's team. Finally makes her world's team last year. Finishes 5th in the world. Runs 155. Breaks 2 minutes for the first time indoors 2 weeks ago. Runs 158. And she's not even in the finals. She's gone from 5th in the world to out of USA's in the first round. 800 is brutal. Outdoors or indoors, it's always extremely hard. It's only the heat winners. But it was stunning to me. She can only run like 201 high. Addy Wiley looked great in that heat. Addy Wiley had a nice trip, didn't run any extra ground. Sage had to run a little bit extra ground between like around 300 out in lane 2, but nothing crazy. Had the lead at the bell and just was nowhere close to Addy Wiley at the end and nowhere close to a time qualifier. You got to say this was just, not good.
Yeah, it was disaster. This woman was 5th in the world last year, and she's not even going to be in the U.S. indoor final. That's not a great outcome for her. Now, and that's with no Rasheem Willis, no Thing Mo, no Nia Akins at this meet as well. But watching the race, Robert, I just wonder, is something up? Like, is she feeling sick or something? Because it's not just as if, she came in and hadn't been running well all season. She ran 158 2 weeks ago. That suggests that she will be the favorite for the win in the 800 of this meet. And she ran 201.7 and didn't even make the final. So, yes, she spent a little extra energy trying to go wide and fight for, trying to get in front from 300 to 400. But that also tells me, hey, someone as good as Sage Hurta-Klecker can't actually get to the front and get the lead when it was 59 first lap. It's not like it was insanely fast. You would think if she's in 158 shape, she should be able to get to the front and control it. And when she did get to the front, but she had no response to Addy Wiley. So obviously not a good run for her. I was very encouraged by Addy Wiley, though, because this is a woman who early in her career has looked somewhat impatient in some of these races, often feels like she needs to be at the front. In this time, Addy was just content to hang on the rail, run smart, and know, hey, I've only got one move. I'm just going to wait till the opportunity to make it and then go hard. And that's exactly what she did. She attacked. So I was encouraged to see her, up against someone you would think Sage is going to be a big contender. Like, she ran smart and made the move at the right time and got the win. So it was definitely an encouraging run for her.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Sage. You'd think she normally runs fast. You just take it out from the front. Anyways, USA's coverage reminder is brought to you by Alethea. Run stronger, avoid injury, know why. Alethea makes a sensor to help you improve your running form. Free 30-day trial and 10% off with code Let's Run 10. Link in the show notes. So, that was the big news in the women's 800. The other heat winners. So you had Megan Hunter winning for her heat 2 flat 0.56. Heather McLean gets in on time 2 flat 60. Addy Wiley 2 flat 64. She won that heat by 1.07 over Hurta-Klecker. Valerie Tobias wins heat 3 201 flat, fastest time of the day, or no, third fastest time of the day actually, but it's the second fastest heat winner. Maggie Congdon gets the last time qualifier 201.24, and then Olivia Baker won heat 4 in 202.24. Michaela Rose terrible yet again 203.05. Just women's 800. I mean, the 800 heats are brutal. Let's go to the men's 800. Obviously, one of the big stories today was Cooper Lutkenhaus. This is his first time at a USA indoors. He's 17 years of age. He ran 142. And it's just, I've been doing this for a while. Sometimes I get jaded. Oh, I've seen, a phenom before. I've seen this before. You think you've seen it all. I've never seen this before. A modern day MF Jim Ryan. It is so much fun to watch this guy. And every time I watch this guy, I'm like, wow, he's showing me something I've never seen before. This is Cooper Lutkenhaus 2.0. The 142 was amazing. He bombs out at Worlds. The thing that most upset me at Worlds is he's like, oh, the workouts from USA to Worlds outdoors, he's like, were amazing. I was at a better level. So I'm like, how can that possibly be? And then indoors, last year he would come off the pace. Indoors, he's been going out hard, racing from the front, just blasting it. But I'm like, well, how is he going to get used to tactical races? And then today we get to see him run a tactical masterclass. Like he goes out with the pack and, I'm putting the screens up there. You can see it 47 seconds into the race. They're running 3 abreast. He's in the middle, outside in the middle, on lane 2. And then he slots in behind Sean Dolan and sort of runs on the outside of lane 1 for much of the lead, and then doesn't take the lead till halfway through the final turn. And I'm like, okay, what does he have left? And then I realize he's just looking over his shoulder. He's got this in the bag and no problem. And what's crazy about it, John, is so he ran a decent amount of it on the outside of lane 1 or in lane 2. And I don't think he's kind of a big guy, big shoulders. He's not real comfortable. I think he runs a little bit wider than he has to, but you might as well be safe because you're better than these guys. But what's surprising to me is when it's all said and done, as easy as that was for him, he's got the fastest time of the day, 147 flat. And that's easy for him. And I guess he is several seconds faster than everybody else in this field. Isaiah Jewett, the Olympian, 148.52 wins for the first heat. I thought Shane Cohen, the NCAA champion with the sick kick, I'm like, okay, he's going to kick down Jewett. But Jewett was just too far ahead. Isaiah Harris, 147.32, wins heat 2. Brandon Kidder, his teammate, 147.71, gets in on time. And then Lutkenhaus and Dolan both got in out of heat 3. And then in heat 4, Joe Wascom, the former miler, gets in over Eric Holt, who went for it, 147.72. Holt ties up 148.82. But I thought this was, I was like, when is he ever going to practice running tactically? He did today.
I mean, Robert, he ran well. I don't understand why you're so crazy about this. This is a guy who is 3 seconds faster this season than anyone else in his heat. And he just ran sit and kick and won his heat and looked comfortable doing it. Like, why are you surprised by any of this? This isn't someone showing me something I've never seen. This is just what happens when someone's way better than his opponents in an 800 prelim.
I've never seen it from him. And this proves my point, though. People say, oh, you got to get years of experience. I'm like, you don't need years of experience. Caster Semenya, if you're better than everybody else, I'll think Mo, they can win a global title right away. But I've never seen this from him. And I do think the 800, you always talk about tactics. I think one of the races where the tactics matter the most is the men's 800, men's 1500. These are races where tactics can be critical. And go back to his freshman year at the Brooks PR race when he ran the record. He was way, way, way back. And he was just in the way back of the field. And then he mows them down by running like wide on the final turn. I've never seen him run in a tactical spot, like in second place near the front of the field. And he just has good instincts on that. Last year at USA Outdoors, he got tripped at one time and had to do it. I've never seen him slot into second and run a patient race like this. This is something he's probably never had to do in his life, John. So it is something we've never seen before.
No, but you're acting like, okay, you're acting like you've never seen it before. You haven't seen it from him. I've seen it from every 800 athlete event, like ever, or not everyone, but like most of them. This is something that you do at some point in your life, and he has to do it now because he's
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. What do we see Josh Hoey do? We see Josh Hoey constantly try to run from the front, constantly get from a rabbit. We don't see multiple forms of Josh Hoey. Today we saw multiple form of Cooper Lutkenhaus, and I think it was brilliant. And we have got boots on the ground. Someone in the chat's like, why isn't Johnny USA's? We have Thoughts Leader, Let's Run.com supporters club member, taking interviews for us. And he's like, yeah, Cooper only took one question, but he spent a lot of time answering it. And he's like, well, I just wanted to feel it out. I wanted to see what it was. Like if it was, he's smart enough to think if it's 26, like if it's 26 and if it was 26 or slower, I was going to take the lead around 200, but he didn't do that. But he's aware of the time. He's aware of the pace. And I think that sense of time and pace and where you should be is critical. Like, John, we've watched Michaela Rose run for 5 goddamn years, and the tactics are the same every time. I can't believe John's rolling his eyes at me, folks. If you're
comparing him to like Michaela Rose, obviously still doesn't know how to pace herself correctly. Like Cooper Lutkenhaus, when has he ever been like that? Look, I'm just saying this was fine. I'm glad that he got experience having to run in a somewhat slower race, because that's the sort of thing he's going to face at World Indoors and at World Outdoors in these championships. You need to know how to position yourself, how to navigate the rounds. I'm just saying, I think you're vastly overrating. And also the other thing, he looked very comfortable doing it. Like, clearly he was looking around. He never really got out of second gear. He looked super comfortable. But I think you're just overrating the value of this one single race where I know he's a high schooler, but he's basically a man against boys. Like, he's just so much better than these guys, and he's sitting on them. Like, anyone who's way better than the rest of the field, you would hope they would be able to do this. And it's good that he did it, but I'm not reading into this as like,
I would hope
he's now a tactical genius.
Okay, I would hope. But I just watched a seasoned pro who's been a pro for almost a decade, Sage Hurta-Klecker. She's a 155 woman, and she can't even run 201. So she ran 6 seconds after.
She's not a 155 woman right now, though.
Oh, so now John's saying that was
no. This is the debate. I'm saying she's not in 155 shape right now. There was this whole debate on the message boards, and people are saying, "Let's get into it." It's like
fascinating discussion on the message board. So John and I are on the same. John and I are arguing now, but on the message board, we're talking about Hurta-Klecker, and someone's like, "Robert, she's not a 155 woman," and I'm like, and John responds, "When you run 155, you are a 155 woman." And then this guy keeps going back and forth and saying she's not a 155 woman. And so what he said was, he's like, it's like you guys are expecting her to run 155 right now. We're like, no, we're not. We're just saying she's a 155 woman. This is a bad showing for her, for someone who has that PB. So John and I both agree that Sage Hurta-Klecker forever and always will be a 155 woman. Even if that was an outlier, she's a 155 woman.
Of course. Like, that's the whole thing about our sports. It's pretty cool that when you run a PB, hey, guess what? I'm a 1425 guy. I mean, I can at least claim that. Obviously, I can't run that right now, but I can say, hey, that's my PB in 5K. So,
well, no, John, that was with pre-super series, so you're like a 1359 guy. But
nah, see, that's
now, John, I do think the reason why I was so into this is because you can count on these two hands how many times in his life or in the next years, like he's gonna have chances, like to run slower races like this, where he's got to think a little bit, he's got to put himself in a position. And then when you get in these global, it's just, you'd like some experience of that on the global final. I would actually like him to do this again tomorrow. He might fall. It could hurt him. He doesn't make worlds, but I just think it might be helpful long-term. So,
I mean,
anyway.
Maybe, but I also think he's in 143 shape and ready to rip. So I think just go to the front, blast it as fast as you can, get a nice personal best out of it, win the US title, and just punch your ticket to Poland. And I also am thinking, like, when I wrote the preview of the meet, I was thinking, yeah, it would be good to see him get some experience in tactical races, but he could also just go to Poland and just decide, I'm just going to front run all 3 rounds. I think I'm fitter than all these other guys. And he very may well be. Like, Creston's obviously been running great, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cooper goes out and drops a time in the 143 lows tomorrow and that's faster than Creston has run this season.
Well, and if it's so hard with only the winners going through, that's probably what I would do. Just, okay, if I'm not winning, at least I'm getting in on time. But by the way, okay, enough of this talk. All in the game, he chimed in. Don't you have to run at least twice to be a 155 woman? Actually, maybe that's true. New theory: you throw out your fastest time, you throw out your slowest time, and then it's it's the average of your second, third, and fourth time. So, kind of kidding. But all right. Look, on the regular podcast, by the way, if you want this as a podcast, join the Sports Club, watchrun.com/subscribe. We'll talk about the conference action in general, but you're talking about tactical stuff. I mean, Jane Hennegren, this is a phenom at the NCAA level. She goes out last night in the prelims of the Big 12 meet when like 10 of the 13 women in the field are going to make the final. She's in the second heat. She knows the time to run, and she goes out and blasts a 4:31 when 4:49 would have gotten you in. I don't understand that. Unless you're trying to simulate NCAAs or something like that, it just seems weird to me. So you're acting like, oh yeah, it's so obviously, it's easy to learn how to run tactically, save energy, not blow it in the round.
Never what I said. I said you are vastly overrating a performance that a guy did in a prelim today. I think it was fine. Like I said, Cooper's race was good
He's
experience.
in high school. We have Jane Hennegren beating people by 17 seconds. Now, admittedly, like 4:31 is not that fast for Jane. She's a 4:21 miler. So anyways, all right. So there's some interesting things going on. Apparently, a guy from USC just ran Garrett Kylan just ran 20:06 in the Big Ten's 200 meters. There was a 15:02 by an American at the SEC meet. We'll talk about that on the regular show. I want to talk about the Tokyo Marathon, first World Marathon major night, 7 p.m. This is fascinating to me. I mean, it's a very good field. We've got defending men's and women's champions. I think on the women's side, there's like the last 4 champions are all there. But for the women, 3 sub 218 women, 3 sub 216 women, 5 sub 217 women, 6 sub 218, 7 sub 219. For the men, you've got 8 under 204. Let me repeat that. 8 sub 204 guys. That's easily the most of any World Marathon major this spring. London's going to have 5. Boston's going to have 3, 10 sub 205s. And what's interesting to me is, I mean, you've got the defending champion for the record, so Tume Kebede, 2:15:55 last year. Bridget Koskei, Howie Fesa, but Tadesse Tekele won last year, 2:03:23. But you've also got the Japanese, and they have the Marathon Grand Championship where they normally pick 2 of their Olympians, right, in the marathon. They have a new rule this year. You can be an auto-qualifier. John, please explain this because this is amazing.
Yeah. So in Japan, if you break 204 and you're the first, you have the top Japanese time under 204 within the qualifying period, you're automatically on the Olympic team for 2028. But the trick is 204, that's way faster than any Japanese man has ever run. The national record is 204:55. So it's an incentive for these guys to run fast. And it's pretty interesting. Just you set that target. You say, okay, if you've proven like you're way better than anyone else in Japanese history, we'll put you on the team. Otherwise, we're going by the results of the trials. But it's a fascinating wrinkle.
And the other fascinating wrinkle here is that the 2 fastest Japanese men of all time, Sugaro Osako, the longtime Nike Oregon project mentor, who actually now I think is still coached by Pete Julian, who ran 2:04:55 national record in Valencia in December, and Kingo Suzuki, the 2:04:56 guy from Lake Biwa 2021, 2 fastest guys in Japanese history. They've been training together in the States. I'm assuming under Julian's tutelage. They're both in this race, and they're both like, we're going for it. So a full minute faster. To me, if they both get it, although we kind of killed the trials race, we talked to Ethan Shuley, the U.S. runner who just ran 2:07 in Japan. He's like, look, this is just the mindset they have over here. It's an amazing mindset. It makes it fun, and that's cool. By the way, I've got to update. I've got to go back to the college. Someone in the chat has just said this. I mean, Rojo's being vindicated. This is the ultimate Rojo show here. Jane Hindegren has lost the Big 12 final. Just ran 4:24 and lost. So, yep. So smart to run that 4:31 yesterday. Get that in, I mean, maybe she would have lost anyways. She's not really a miler. Well, wait, actually, I'm not going to, who won? I'm not even going to, of course, she probably lost because did she lose to her teammate who's a better miler than her?
No, she lost to Bilajep Karui, who is also very good miler from Oklahoma State who ran, 4:22 a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, Robert, you got to remember, Jane Hedrigan's a 4:22 miler, so running 4:31 in the prelims, I mean, is that taking an enormous amount out of her, you really think? I mean, she didn't need to run that fast, but is that totally wasting her for today? I'm not certain.
I just, if you don't need to run that fast, why do it? Particularly in the second heat. I can understand not wanting to have to throw down a big last lap, so you make it somewhat honest or, whatever. But
yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, especially if you're coming back the next day. But I don't know. I generally trust Diljeet Taylor and to know how to coach on these things.
Wow.
And Bilajep Karui is just also a mile 800 runner. Like that's her wheelhouse. Jane is a.
It's not surprised. She probably would have lost. Honestly, she probably would have lost anyways. Angela has just joined the chat. She was looking for the USATF results. So, like, the only way to watch the races is to join USATF.tv, pay your $13, and you can watch them. I assume they're going to eventually put races up on YouTube, but
I wouldn't assume that.
We don't have the results live. By the way, if you did pay, early on, John and I we had to pay separately because you can't even share a stream. You used to be able to subscribe to Runner Plus, include USATF.tv. Runner Space did the production for USATF. They've had a fight in the background. Now you have to buy USATF separately from Runner Space. And we turn it on, and I'm like looking for the track feed. There's like a women's long jump. There's a hammers feed. There's a high jump feed. There's all these feeds, and there's no track feed. The only feed that looks like it might have track says integrated feed. So I click on that, and there's 4 boxes. I'm watching the hammer throw in one, the jump in the other, and the pole vault in the third. And then in the fourth, there's a tiny box with track. And I'm like, this is a joke. So I felt like, John, I'm getting a little middle age. I'm like, am I old man now? I don't understand technology. Like, how can I not find this? I just paid for this. And then thankfully you called me and you're like, what's going on with the stream? And I'm like, this is insane. So the good news is USATF does have at least one competent employee. Supporters Club member Jay Holder is their new director of communications. He's really with it. I texted him a screenshot and was like, Jay, you guys have got to do something about this. This is really, really, really bad. And if I hate to say it, but if it's not done, we're just going to be writing column about what amateur hour this is. So within about 10 minutes, he's like, we're working on it. Thanks for letting us know. So they didn't know until yours truly, folks.
I'm not sure. That's just what I wonder. But like, how does this even get to the point where that's how they're presenting it? Because at the start of it, not only were there other, it's part of this quad box, some of the boxes had nothing. Some of them were just the USATF logo. They were showing nothing in those boxes at the time. And then the other thing is they have a specialized feed for the weight throw, but they don't have one for the track. Like, do they know their own constituents? Don't they know that the weight throw is like the least popular event in all of indoor track and field? Actually, maybe the race walk, and like track races are going to be way more popular. Like, how did this thing even come to pass? I'm glad they fixed it quickly. I think I would have gone insane if I had
still
to watch
should have a track only feed
in a quad box. But like, the track is that's the feed most people who are shelling out $12.99 to watch this thing are going to be watching, is the track action. And then the field events, you can check in from them now. Also, congrats to USATF.tv on getting $39 out of Let'sRun.com, because I had to pay for my own account. You had to pay for your own account. And then Weldon, who I don't think was watching the rest of the meet until that point, he pays because he wants to watch the 3K live. And the only way to do it without kicking us out is to pay for his own account. So we all shelled out because we wanted to watch that 3K. And honestly, it was worth it.
What a race. What a race. I said 30 minutes. It's been almost an hour. Enjoy Tokyo, people. But how do you not have a track only feed? So, anything else?
No, I'm excited for day 2. We get the Nuguse versus Hocker grudge match in the 1500. Nikki Hilt goes for 7 straight in the 15, and a young Cooper Lutkenhaus tries to win his first US title. I predict a 143. And then, of course, Robert, we didn't talk the belt. The belt is up for grabs in the men's 60. Oh my God, who's going to win the belt?
I think Noah Lyles is going to get destroyed by his training partner. But wait, if Nuguse is Nico in that 15?
No.
Why didn't he double in her? It's just his safety.
Good question. If I were, I probably would have if I were in his position.
I would love to see him just run it. What would he do in a tactical 1500? Now, this is where it should work. If Nuguse makes the 1500 meter team, because you said he wanted to do the 1500 originally, that's what he said?
That's what it seemed like he was leaning towards after Milrose.
Okay.
I think in an ideal world.
Then this is a win-win. And I just say, all right, hey, Yared.
You bribe Nuguse, make the team, and give up your spot.
Watching live, I'm making the money sign. Give me a little cash, maybe 10 grand. It's all you. You can have the 3,000 spot. Wow.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. And we'll have our regular podcast, back on Monday or Tuesday, breaking down.
We'll go live tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe.
And you've got the US Half Marathon Championships tomorrow morning. I mean, it's a very busy weekend for
us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, you should watch that, folks. It's at 7 a.m. free stream, 7 a.m.
Live on
Isaac
YouTube.
Rager, Charles Hicks, Hurley Boer, Wesley Kipton, Grace Hurley, Jesse McLean, or Kemp, Andy Rodenfels, Grace Hartman. We have boots on the ground there. We have boots on the ground in New York. Check our. You're on YouTube. A lot of you are on X right now. But if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Literally, if you don't like and subscribe, you don't get the videos very often because I was looking for the Nikki Hilt. Thoughts Leader did a good interview with Nikki Hilt. So you wanted to ask about the hate that she experienced at the A6 Sound running invite, and he told me after about it. So I'm like, well, what did she say? So I was trying to find it. I go to YouTube. I type in Nikki Hilt. You think that YouTube would show you the most recent Nikki Hilt interview? No, they don't. They just show you some random races, blah blah blah. So if you're not like subscribed, you might miss some of these videos. She actually did a good job explaining it. She's like, it was just college kids being college kids. So she didn't make a big deal of it. I thought she handled it well. I thought Thoughts Leader did a very good job on the interview. So anyways, John, the Brit could win the U.S. half marathon championships. It's kind of weird. A British guy who already is a 209 marathoner somehow is running for a U.S. title in his half marathon debut. Complete oxymorons, but all true. Until next time, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. That's why you got to go Let's Run to see if we're going live. Bye.